Lois Bélanger, and I am from nowhere. I'm an Army brat. Okay. So I came up here to go to college and ended up staying. I've been with George over 40. I've been with Northern Clearing 40. I met George at Country Kitchen while I was waitressing. Okay. And we just started BSing, and I was telling him how I was having a hard time finding a job in my degree after graduating, you know, and that I was working 2 jobs. And while I was looking, and I said it makes it difficult to do that when you're trying to interview and work, and just got married and all that stuff. So yeah, it kind of progressed from there. So I started out just helping in their office because they needed more people. The lady that was there was leaving, so it was more, the communication was a little different. So it was a little office next to George's house where if you had to go to the bathroom, that's where you went, right? And it was next to the old shop. And we had to talk to everybody over radio. The base was there. And so when I would have to call people, say, okay, you're needed over here or whatever, that's pretty much what I did. And then Ron Glass was in there and he did the books, so I started helping him do those eventually. So that's pretty much how I started. Right now, I just gave up the corporate secretary, so I pretty much worked for the owners these last couple of years and, you know, got whatever they needed done and took care of their stuff for them. So that's pretty much what I've been doing the last couple of years. The people. There's just, Christy and I got to go out to the field a couple of times and meet a lot of the people that we always talk to on the phone, and we got to travel, and Dick took me out on a few jobs out east, and so that was, it was just finally great to put faces and personalities to the people you talk to on the phone all the time.
Sure.
So it was really cool, and just to see what we actually did, because I'd never really seen it. So that was also really interesting, and to see the other side, because now we're divided right into pipeline and electrical side. Well, I didn't really know what the electrical side was all about, so I got to see some of that too. So that was really interesting, and it was fun to meet all the people, and you still talk to them every once in a while, so that's cool. The favorite trip was probably Christy and I went down with Steve and Jim Yunker, and it was Power Up. And then we did some Enbridge work, so we got to go out and meet all the guys doing the matting, which we'd never seen before, and where they stack the timber off the right-of-way. And Power Up was different because it was electrical, so we got to see that side of it too. So both those trips were awesome. They were just fun to meet everybody. I would say balancing your family life with your career. I had, you know, we had 2 kids growing up, and both were in sports, both were in different schools, so it was like, okay, I've got to work it out where I'm running one kid one way and my husband's running the kid the other way, and you know, that's a challenge nowadays when you're working around in your local. It really is, but I don't know how else you make it. That was definitely a strong one because they helped find, like, there was a point where I didn't have daycare, and they knew some people. Hey, why don't you try this person? And I mean, George and Louise were always there to offer advice, and you know, Louise always wanted to meet the babies when they were born and spend time with them. So that was, you know, it's a family thing, so they help, and they still do. They help you whenever they can. It was just very hard to convince George to get a computer. So we did the books by hand, which was the long ledgers, which is, when I started learning the computer, it was a tape recorder at Northland. That's how old the computer system was. So trying to convince them to go electronic was like we're doing everything by hand, and we were typing out the checks, and then we were running it through a separate machine to put the numbers in. Got a few phone calls, hey, my per diem's a little high this week. Because Chris used to help me a lot, Chris Stewart. So she worked there during the summers after school. So yeah, that took about 2 years to convince them that, hey, we could really do this quickly. I could be available to do other things. And then Dick came in and helped hammer that home. So that was that was like a big push. That was like a no-go for George. It was like he didn't want the machines in there. No, no, no. There's too many. After 40 years, I mean, mostly it's the people. It's just great to be around the people and reminisce. Everybody has different memories, and I'm at the stage where I'm seeing some of the people disappear, and that's the sad part. But you have those memories that you met them and that they were, you know, the fun part of the job, hanging out and BSing and, you know, trying to be good. Most of the time we were. I would say to be open-minded and accept help when you get it. It was not one of my best fortes. It was something I had to learn. I was pretty stubborn, still am. But I learned that things are better when you open up, you let people help you, then you can really do your job correctly and reach out and work with the company instead of feel like you're running the company or doing everything by yourself. That makes a difference, and it took me a while to learn that lesson, but I did.